I saw this article titled How to Learn a Language Like a Baby, and naturally I was skeptical. A lot of times people say that they're like, just thrust yourself into an immersion environment, no explicit instruction, that's how babies learn, so you're gonna learn too. It doesn't work like that for adults, but what they're suggesting is about the kind of stuff that babies hear when they're still in the womb. A lot of people don't realize this, but while you're still in the womb, you're starting to understand parts of your native language, at least the rhythm and intonation of it. So babies start by learning phonetics and phonology before they ever learn how to read and write. This isn't even part of the natural language. This has to be explicitly explained. Whereas adults often learn a language by reading and writing alongside learning the new vocabulary. So the first time you might see a word, it's probably written down, and only later do you learn how to speak and use it. By following this idea of what you hear in the womb, they were able to conduct an experiment. 174 Czech adults listened to 5 minutes of Maori, a language they had never heard, and then they were tested on clips of Maori and Malay, another language they had never heard, and they were asked if it was the same language as before or not. And they were able to correctly identify the Maori better than chance. Not only that, but only one of the groups listened while 3 other groups listened while reading subtitles. But it's the ones who didn't read any subtitles at all that performed the best. So spelling and writing, which are not part of the natural language, can interfere with your ability to learn the natural language like a native speaker. Another example is Italian learners of English lengthening double letters, because in Italian, a double consonant is a geminated or lengthened consonant, but in English, that's not a thing. But if you're allowed to focus only on the phonetics and phonology, then you'll be better at understanding it, or at least identifying it with very little exposure. This doesn't mean there's no place for reading and writing in modern language education. Obviously, literacy is hugely important in the modern world. But to learn quickly and be better at speaking and understanding, maybe we should try something a bit different than learning all your words by reading them first. It is important to point out that Maori and Malay, while both part of the Austronesian language family, are very distantly related. So they probably don't sound a whole lot like each other, even to someone who's never heard them before. So it might be a bit easier to distinguish those two than, for example, distinguishing Spanish and Italian if you had never heard those. But it's definitely compelling research and something that deserves getting looked into even more.